Hey guys, it's Shaw with your inspiring message, and thank you so much for tuning into this video and any other videos of mine that you've tuned into. I'm so happy to hear from people when they tell me that they really enjoy watching these videos and that they find them really useful. And just happy to reconnect with some old friends, whether they're former classmates or make some new connections. And that's my goal with these videos, is to really share all the information that I've learned that can help with everyday life, through the books I've read over the past few years, and just my own experiences, and just being able to connect with other people who are on maybe their own journey of discovering who they are as we go through life together. I think we can help one another out. So thank you so much for continuing to watch these videos, and I can promise you it's going to get really inspiring as we continue on. So in the last video, I talked about how you're going to be happy in 2020, and I mentioned one of my favorite books, which is The Untethered Soul by Michael A. Singer. And this is one of those books that really was life-changing for me when I read it, and I read it a few times now. And he talks about how to be happy, and ultimately how it does come down to a decision. Do you want to be happy? Because there are a lot of choices and decisions that we make in life that affect our happiness, but there are other things that happen that we have no control over, and you've got to make that decision that you're going to be happy no matter what. So the other chapter in this book that I found so enlightening was one chapter called Your Inner Roommate. And so the author, Michael Singer, refers to basically the thoughts that you have every minute, every second of the day, as your inner roommate. And it's like this separate person in your head, who basically can be a positive person, but a lot of times this person in your head is often negative. And we don't even know it, because we just think, well, that's us. Those are our thoughts. And we don't have to, number one, see them as us. We can see it as this inner roommate, because in return, we can quiet down those thoughts. And the thoughts that we have in our head, what you're thinking constantly, is either bringing goodness to you, or it's bringing a lot of stress. And more times than often, you will find that it is bringing a lot of stress. If you're constantly having negative thoughts, if you're having fearful thoughts, if you're having anxious thoughts all the time, those are contributing to unnecessary stress in your life. And we don't need any additional stress in our lives, right? So first things first is you've got to listen to this inner roommate for a while. So just take a few minutes in your day, or throughout the day is a good idea, to listen to, what is your inner roommate saying? So is your inner roommate positive? Are they providing you with, positive information and thoughts, or are they being negative? And so it could be the simplest things that your inner roommate is making so complicated. So for example, if you go outside and you see a person, and let's say you say hello to a person, that person doesn't say hello back, and your inner roommate's like, oh man, they were so rude. Maybe they don't like you. Maybe they didn't like something on you. I mean, the most ridiculous things that your inner roommate could get you thinking, and then it doesn't go away. Now you're left with that thought that is so unnecessary, and you just don't need to be thinking that way. So listening to your inner roommate, and you might not want to do this for a long time, because you might be a little freaked out by what you hear from your inner roommate. And what you will notice more than likely is that this thing doesn't shut up. It really doesn't. Whether it's positive, negative, or it's neutral, because we constantly have energy that's flowing up in there. But this is one of the solutions to quieting the roommate, which is ultimately what you want to do, is number one, acknowledging that this thing is constantly going off and feeding you information. And just because you're having these thoughts doesn't mean you need to feed into them. So let's picture you're in a room and the TV is on, right? Just because the TV is on doesn't mean you can't focus on something else. So there's noise in the background, but you're kind of just tuning out that noise. And that's really what you want to achieve when it comes to those negative thoughts that your inner roommate might be providing to you more often than than you imagine, is kind of just how to acknowledge those thoughts and just kind of let them go, and realize, number one, that just because you're having those thoughts doesn't mean you have to feed into them, and realizing that this could be the root of one of the problems of why you're feeling so stressed out all the time. I mean, the mind is an incredible thing. It's an incredible place that we create for ourselves, and it could be a place of beauty and calmness and peace, or it could be a terrorizing place full of anxiety, fear, anger. And that's what we don't want to create. And a lot of us have created that space in our heads. So the good part is that you can kind of quiet down this inner roommate. And it's a process that happens over time. But it starts with just kind of acknowledging, what is your inner roommate like? And so I just want you to kind of listen to your thoughts periodically throughout the day and see what you're listening to. And if you like what you're hearing, great. If you don't, you need to start paying more attention to what's going on in your mind and how you can kind of quiet down that roommate. And I think what you will find is that you can have less stress, you can have more energy dedicated to the things that you want to dedicate in your life, instead of worrying or feeling anxious about things that you really don't need to be anxious or worry about. So the book is The Untethered Soul. And so the activity that I leave you with is just to kind of listen to that inner roommate, those thoughts that you have periodically throughout the day, and what are they feeding you? What are they telling you? And then think about how you can kind of quiet down that inner roommate and find more peace ultimately and happiness in your life. So thank you so much for tuning into this inspiring message. Until next time.